Hello everyone and welcome to Sprint6 for Team25. Team25 has Linlin Go, Amit Paliwal, Jevo Park, Shoain Quinn, and Adek Simonian. Thank you. In terms of the progress made in this sprint, we have API server to database communication moved up to HTAP. We are now working on providing the deployment locally as well as on HTAP. We are in a state to write business logic now that can be done for the further development in the database side so that front end can connect to the database. We have done the initial prototyping for database modeling. We are still doing some proofreading to see whether a separate queue service will be deployed or not. Front end can now access the API server with the DNS name in the namespace. In this slide, we can see how the API server successfully writes to Mongo on HTAP and returns the document information. We can see that we are providing the name of the patient and age of the patient, and we are retrieving the same information from the database. This is done using the post and get methods. This slide shows how database connection to API server is done using the PyMongo driver. PyMongo driver provides Mongo connection using Python. As shown in the red box, we can see how a successful connection was established. In terms of front-end progress, now we have provided a standalone launch flow. We have an index.html that initiates the login flow with correct permissions. Providers can log into the system with username and password. Dashboard.html enforces active sessions. If visitors are not logged in, they will be redirected to index.html, where they can continue with the login process. Dashboard shows logged in user information, which will be the first name and the last name. We have also started and completed the search information for patients. The criteria for search will be given family name and birthday.
This is Lily. I'm going to take over and give a presentation of the following slides. Our team also make progress in the login page using Smart AHR. For example, the user, Dr. Albertine, can log in with the username and password. After you hit login, it will take to the next page. From the previous page, it will take over to this authorization page through Smart AHR. This is an authorization application that will enable us to access data until we revoke permission. It is requesting the permission to read about your profile information and all data on the current patient. It also can request permission to write all the data on the current patient. You can click on the approval button, it will take to the next page. From the previous page, they will take us to this dashboard with logged in user information page. You can see the user information, Albertine is here. And from the dashboard, there are different categories of patients with different severity levels. There are intermediate that shows also the number of patients in this level and up to a non-urgent category where it has 49 patients. We can add a new patient and call in a patient. Also, there are different bytes that can be assigned to this patient from byte 1 to byte 6, and also the whether this bed is available, whether it's already sent to a patient is also shown here. There is a waiting patient list with the patient name and also the severity or the urgentness for waiting. This slide shows a workflow current in scope. For the first task, it's about the new patient page. We want to pull patient record available from file server and open up a form for the staff to fill out to assess patient current status. For the second task, the summation of the form, we want to hit the API server to process the file data prior and assessment data, and we want to determine the patient's severity level. The other task ongoing is a chat from the entry point to add new patient to the queue. On the left side is showing the triage form and patient severity level form, whether patient dying, the level of consciousness, the heartbeat, whether the patient breathing, the pain levels, whether he's panic, how seriously the injury is, and age of the patient, pressure level, and also past medications, so that we can determine whether the patient should be added to the wait queue or added to the system right away and call in immediately. On the right side, it is showing the patient history with the patient ID, last name, first name, and date of birth, so that later on we can establish a lookup search function in the file for the patient lookup. The other important task is the object document model. It is currently in progress. We are implementing code. For example, we have created a class of patient triage, and we have created several variables here, whether the patient dying, consciousness, which is also there, or it's an integer, whether it's data type, whether the heartbeat and breathing and so on, and also the patient file with first name, last name, date of birth, and file ID. I'm also going to give an update on the Gantt chart, the project progress. So up until today, March 15th, we have finished 100% of all the tasks showing here. The UI mocks and URL creation, implementation, front end, API server to database communication, move to page deck, proofreading for deployment, queue service, front end access to API with DNS name, and API writes to Mongo on each step successfully, and also database connection to API server too. The provider standard alone launch flow is implemented, and also the ODB model is in progress. For the next few weeks, we're going to work on this part. So the three form here is implemented, which I mentioned before. The dashboard and parallel patient search will be given update, and the chat form is ongoing, and the workflow I mentioned about is ongoing, and also importantly, the Python implementation, the startup business logics, and the connection between the front and crosstalk is our priority. That's all. Thank you.